Next up, we've got another great presentation from ONEiO.
Thank you everyone for joining today. My name is Ben Howell. I'm with ONEiO, and today we're going to talk a little bit about building a best-in-class service management ecosystem. A big word which we're going to walk through a little bit, try to explain. And as I mentioned for today, what we've prepared is just 3 sections and then a little bit of a demo what it actually looks like. First of all, we're going to introduce ourselves. I brought my colleague with me today, Petteri, which I'm going to introduce in a second. We're going to talk some of the common challenges some of our customers seen and also prospects we talk to on a regular basis see in the industry. And then also talk a little bit more about our solution when it comes to the service management ecosystem. This is a big word, so we'll walk through it step by step and break it down for everyone on the call. But first of all, welcome to our session. Thank you for being here today. We're super excited to be part of the SDI Tool Dates today. My name is Ben Howell. I'm the head of North America. I'm located here out of our corporate headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. With me today, I have Petteri. He's headquartered out of our global headquarters in Helsinki, Finland. He's our director of products. And yes, it is way later for him than it should be, but he's been so flexible and nice to join us today and will guide us a little bit through the demo and show our solution when it comes to integrations and then also when it comes to building this best-in-class service management ecosystem. With that being said, I'm going to go here and show a little bit about a small island solution that we've seen in the past and something that we talk about a lot. When you think about applications, and not so much only ITSM tool solutions, but you think applications in general, they're like islands at the end of the day. They have a lot of data, they have a lot of processes, they have a lot of users. But what they don't have, and this is something when you look at the bigger picture, is you have all these applications in your enterprise. And of course, your enterprise architecture team will have a great overview of them, but they're not connected with each other, meaning some of them are really independent. And as you can see here in this case, as islands, they all have their own users, they all have their own set of data, they have their own processes, but they're not really interconnected with each other. We, as ONEiO, we're a so-called integration service provider. We come in and build bridges between these islands. What that basically means is you can keep working in the tools you have within your organization, but also outside of your organization, and don't have to change the way of working or you have to adapt to any kind of new tools or processes. You simply build bridges between these islands. So we, as an integration service provider, as ONEiO, come and build bridges between these islands. Now, what you can see here on the screen is an example of an ecosystem, what it can look like. You have your IT service management solution in the middle, which is your ITSM solution, can be anyone in the industry. I think there are new tools, and we've also seen a few already today coming up on a regular basis. But then you can also have your software development tool, right, where your software engineers work in that do any kind of CI/CD pipeline activity, any kind of software engineering activities. You might have another business unit like infrastructure, for example, that has their own monitoring solutions to make sure that everything is working. Some of them are integrated, some of them are not, right? You might even have some of your services that are outsourced. You might have a managed service provider that has their own ticketing tool, their own ITSM solution. Can be the same, but it's definitely going to be separate from yours. And then you could have any kind of other third-party vendor out there that has their own ticketing tool. If you need to interact with them, you have to go to some kind of portal, you have to call them, maybe even email them in order to open the ticket with them. And then once the ticket is opened, you really do not see what happens on the other side unless the communication manually goes back. So as I said, we as ONEiO, as an integration service provider, we come in and build bridges between these islands so that all these islands in your organization and outside of your organization can communicate with each other. And then the key highlight is here, of course, without changing or adapting the way you work. That's what we do in a nutshell. That being said, let's switch over to common challenges. And this is something, as I mentioned in the beginning, when we come to this island approach where everyone has their own applications, their own use cases, something we see quite commonly across all our clients, and something that is when you build integrations yourself or adapt or so on, we'll see throughout your own experience. And this is where we come in and hopefully can help you avoid a few of these challenges or obstacles. The first one is, of course, if you work with a service provider, the service provider adapts and uses your tools and processes. So you have your own ITSM solution and your service provider is forced to use yours because you say, I'm the big enterprise. I don't really care what you like to do, but I would like for you to use my tool. That comes with a certain set of challenges, with a certain set of problems with it. But it can also be the other way around, that your service provider tells you, well, we have our core processes and we want you to use our tools and our processes, right? Another option of integrating, and the challenge that we see, of course, is point-to-point integrations, right? You use native connectors between these applications, web services, to build these point-to-point integrations between systems. So for example, you have a monitoring solution out there, there are plenty, and you have your ITSM solution, and you use a native connector, and you build that integration point-to-point, meaning there's a one-to-one path of integrating between these two applications. Then last but not least, of course, is a corporate iPaaS. An iPaaS is an integration platform as a service that can help you build these integrations. I'm going to go through these options a little bit just to show you what the common challenges are. We're going to focus on the first two here, adapting processes. Now, if you think about adapting processes, this can cause issues not only for you, but also for your service provider or a partner. You need to train and onboard the staff with the new tool that's about to be used. And you have to develop maybe even new processes, because you might have multiple vendors, multiple service providers that all have their own way of working, and you need to adapt to each and every one. And of course, if you're on the other side as a service provider, you do not want to have a different process for each of your customers, right? So the actual service delivery becomes quite challenging, quite tasking, and you need to make sure that you stay on top and navigate all these kind of different scenarios. You're forcing your tools and processes onto your customers, onto your vendors or your partners, and that, from a managed service provider perspective, of course, can hurt your customer retention, but it can also hurt your processes. It can hurt your SLAs, your service level agreements, your mean time to recovery, because of course no one is accustomed to working that way, and they have to work in your tool and figure things out without messing something else up. And then, of course, if you invite people and managed service providers or others to use your tool, there's also a certain license cost that is associated with it. And then on top of that, not only the license costs, you might need a VPN in order to access the network, right? It might be an on-prem system. It might be hosted in a private cloud, right? There's a certain set of onboarding, ramp up, and also the operational costs over time that add up when you use this method of saying, hey, you use my tool or I use yours. It's not really efficient when you think about integrating these tools to work with each other. The third one that we had here on the slide of the options is building these point-to-point integrations, either yourself, either via native connectors or these web services. You will see here the challenges here of these traditional point-to-point integrations is it's a very old way of doing it. And I'll walk through it step by step just to get everyone up to speed on what usually happens. You start off with your business requirements, right? This is where you start. This is where you say, like, this is why we're trying to integrate these tools. We're trying to increase collaboration, reduce operational overhead, reduce the mean time to recovery, right? Have a positive effect on the collaboration and especially on your operational part, especially if you think about it from an IT service management perspective. Now, when you have these business requirements, the first thing that you need to do is translate them into the technical specifications. If you look at some of these API documentations, you will see they're around 500 pages, and you need to sort yourself through and understand, okay, what is it that I need in order to use for my use case in order to fulfill my requirements? And then once you understood the specification, you have to actually develop them. And that takes a lot of time because you need to build it. You might need to custom build it because maybe it doesn't even fulfill your use case fully, and you need to find a solution in between. So then you have your integration, but then something, and I say this all the time, integrations are like applications. They have a life cycle. And also an integration has a life cycle. So you need to take care for support maintenance. And that's not only making sure it is up to date, it is working, but there's also a change management part to it. Not only your tools change and their gateways might change, but also your way of working will change and adapt over time. Something that is really, really important nowadays. When you come across these things, you need to do it also on top of that. You need to develop them and make sure that everything is there. Again, go through that phase. And then at the end of the day, 6 to 12 months later, you're going to sit there and be like, what was actually the business requirements I was out to achieve? Because you were so obsessed and had to focus on the technical parts that you totally forget focusing on the process and the outcome that you decided on the beginning going out to achieve it at the end. And then if you have, of course, a lot of point-to-point integration, it's one of my favorite slides, you will see the outcome is you have a spaghetti of integrations. You might have your This is just a certain set of applications. And then you have the spaghetti across your organization because you build point-to-point integrations. One you use a web service, another one you use a native connector, and so on and so forth. So it's really hard to maintain and scale this over time, this approach. So if you don't have a unified way of integrating, this will cause you certain issues and challenges. And then last but not least, the corporate iPaaS that you use to build integrations. This is, and I'm not going to name them, but everyone knows probably about integration platforms as a service. There are a lot out there. They also have a certain set of complexity. They're not low code, no code environments. You have to have a team of developers in order to build these things. You have to not only understand your business requirements, but also the technical specifications still. Given you have a better solution of scaling, but they're still hard to manage and maintain because it's not something that is built intuitively or something that can help you. It's not really built for external integrations, it's more for internal integrations. So again, here, another shortcoming when you use an iPaaS approach. Our solution is a little bit different, and today we have one of them. We have, of course, multiple solutions, but the one we're talking about today is your service ecosystem. And when we talk about our service ecosystem, it allows you to be whoever you need to be, right? So I talked about this in the beginning. Each tool has their own processes, their own data, their own users. Now, if you use a solution like ours, you don't have to adapt your way of working. You just keep working the way you're working, and the integration in the background will take care of facilitating the data bi-directional. It lets everyone collaborate seamlessly and gives you full visibility. So if you have a single source of truth, because you have your management reporting dashboards in your ITSM solution, you can pull all the information in real time from the other sides and provide them inside your report and have a holistic visibility approach to it. You can adapt to changes because that's something that will be taken care of through us as an integration service provider. It's very predictable when it comes to costing because you don't have to carry that heavy external team. It's a low code to no code implementation, and it allows you to use whatever you need in order to drive it forward to your business requirement. And it's a subscription at the end of the day that allows you to subscribe to the service while building your ecosystem. This is an example from one of our clients what an ecosystem can look like. You have your left hand, you have a big pharma company that has multiple ServiceNow instances. They have a monitoring solution, they even have a CRM solution, and then they have their external partners that you can see on the right hand. All of them are integrated through our platform in the middle, ONEiO, allowing you to build the integrations, but also maintain and change them over time, something that our team provides out of the box for you. It's part of our subscription service, and that's why we call ourselves an integration service provider. We not only give you the technology to build these things, but we also give you the ability to run them in the background smoothly without having to worry about, is my data moving or not? That is something that should be like plumbing in the house, given and always be reliable. But for today, we're going to go from integration to collaboration. And speaking about collaboration, I'm going to hand over to Petteri, who's going to show a little bit what this example looks like in real life.
All right, thanks, Ben. Hello and greetings from Helsinki, Finland. My name is Petteri Raatikainen. I'm the Director of Products here at ONEiO. And although it really pains me, I'm not here today to just give you a demo of how ONEiO works or the latest and greatest features that we have in our amazing integration automation platform. What I really want to showcase to you guys today is how these three different parties can work together without ever leaving their tools. And although today I'll be jumping between these tools just to show you how this works, trust me, this is not how any of our parties and anyone who's using ONEiO in the background will have to work. Everything just works for them. And how we'll kick this off today is I have an example case working through ServiceNow. And let's start this off by creating a change request. And how we can formulate this case is that we're working on a SuccessFactors platform, and we really need to upgrade our system. And how does that process work for us? Well, we need to create a change request to start off this process. And let's say that our change manager, Kari, regular Finnish dude, is working inside of ServiceNow, starts creating his change request as is instructed in his regular process. He starts off by creating this change request, submitting it through ServiceNow, and all of this is still happening within that enterprise's own system. And when we jump to the next step, Kari knows that he has to create a change task for this upgrade to go forward. And the next part in the process is for him to make sure that the servers are upgraded. So what he'll do is he'll create a change task that goes along with this change request, requesting for the servers to be upgraded. And this task is actually something that Kari and his team is not working on, but they've outsourced this to another vendor who's actually using Jira as their tool. So when I submit this change task, it'll appear as a regular change task in ServiceNow. But when I go back to the change request itself, and to the change task in question, when I assign this to our ERP support staff, what you will notice is that this is actually being directed straight to our vendors inside of Jira. And if I go back to this change task, you'll notice that the integration has kicked off, has created a demo 922 ticket inside of our Jira demo. And then if I jump over to Jira, I can find that 922 ticket. So now I've taken the role over from our ERP support side, find that there is a ticket that I need to be working on. I will assign it to myself, first of all, of course. And what happens right now is that when I've assigned it to myself, the task inside of ServiceNow has moved to in progress. So I'm always up to date on what the status is inside of the tool that I'm working on. So Kari is very happy because as the change manager, he wants to know where his ticket is going. To continue this process as this support agent here, I need to know what server are you talking about? Because you did not give me that information in the original ticket. Once I jump back over to ServiceNow, the messages come through asking me, what server are you talking about? Now, Kari's a regular Finnish guy who is a bit impatient with his requests. So what he will do at this stage is he'll let the support agent know that all right, and he posts that. Now, I don't know how many of you in the audience know what this stands for, but this was a bit of Finnish that I added to the ticket right there. Serveri on the end, that's probably referring to the server. But how on earth would our support agent now understand what is this comment going to be about? Well, let's check back into Jira, update the ticket. And what we can see is an automatic translation applied to that comment that was added to this ticket. So I should know, update that server is what Kari told me just now. I don't know the server either because I just asked for it. So what I'll do at this stage is I'll throw this over to our third vendor or party who's working with us, who's in charge of our infrastructure. And I'll ask them, what server it is. And when I've assigned this to this Zendesk demo user and added that question, I can jump over to Zendesk. Let's reassign this, maybe that. Great demo effect here. When I assign this ticket, the ticket should be automatically redirected over to Zendesk. And I create a new ticket for that system. But as we look over into ServiceNow side, this first party, Kari, change manager, he's also gotten a notification here that this ticket has been sent from Jira to Zendesk, asking, can you tell me what server it is? And now if we go back, I still can't get the ticket. Let's see if there's an unassigned ticket. Perhaps that's where it's gone. There we go. Just didn't find the right queue at first. So here we go. This third party has now received this ticket, success founder server upgrade, asking me, can you tell me what server it is? Because I am the infrastructure party here, I of course know exactly what server it is. So let me reply with the server details. There we go. Server is SRV, SAPS2. Oh, don't need to duplicate that. And I'll submit this back over to our vendor. Back inside of Jira. Apologies for the slow systems here today, but I've received back the information from Zendesk saying that the server is SRV SAPS. Thank you very much. I'll take it from here. Comment back on that. Now our party inside of Zendesk will have received an update. Back over to Zendesk. Thank you very much. I'll take it from here. No worries. And I will close this ticket. And what now happens over on Jira side is not only do we get back this information about the comment that was added to the ticket, I will also see that this ticket has been assigned back to the demo user. So as before it was assigned to the Zendesk user, it automatically gets assigned to the demo user. Now I'm back working as the vendor, and what I will do now is that I've received all the information I need to be able to do this server upgrade for Kari. So I will add a ticket or a comment saying that we'll be upgrading the server right now. And just to be a bit more playful with my comment, I will also add a nice ticket or a picture just to, well, that did not drag and drop right in the right place. I will add a nice animation over just to showcase that we don't have to take work so seriously every day. And there we go. Let's send that over. Let's see, does it come over to ServiceNow? Update the view. And there we go. Nice cat typing. I'll return the favor, send another image back over to our friends, our vendor. And that should load up nicely right there. Okay, great. The upgrade was finally complete, and what we have to do on our side is still just to change the status of the ticket, that we've managed to fix this. Let's click done here. Ticket is done, and over on ServiceNow side, it's already changed to closed. And that is really what ONEiO can do in the background for you. It can take care of attachments, it can take care of different languages if you need to, and it can make sure that all parties can continue working in their different tools, not having to jump between tools like I did today, because as you can see, it can be a bit of a hassle. And how all of this is powered, well, that is what ONEiO is on the background, our integration automation platform. What we've done for this specific example is we've connected ServiceNow, just a single instance of it. We've connected our Jira vendor 1, and we had our second vendor using Zendesk. And all of these communicate through the routing rules that are connecting these different systems. They could be pointing to various other tools like Topdesk or Halo ITSM or Freshservice. Any of those tools that we have in our wide catalog of endpoint types, it's possible to connect them depending on the case, so that you get the information when you need it and where you need it, just in time. And what we can see here is this is how it looks like from the ONEiO side when all of these messages are being routed, different conditions configured to take the ticket to the right place. And that's my demo for today. Apologies for the jumpiness here, but I hope you got a great grasp of what ONEiO can do in a service management ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks ONEiO. Great job. having done lots of demos in my day, it's really hard to show multi-tool demos, especially ones that are as complex as that. So I congratulate you on a job well done, actually. I really like the point you made at the beginning, Ben, about focusing on business value instead of jumping to a tech solution. Every time I hear that, I'm just reminded how easy it is for us to jump to a technology solution. And of course, this call is all tools demos, all technology demos. So it's a good point to remember, and I'm glad that you made it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
I also want to give you
I
a
didn't see the irony there, so I'm laughing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I also want to give you +2 points for having a cat GIF or a cat GIF in there. What size company does this kind of fit for? Is it for larger companies only? Like you're showing ServiceNow and you're showing Jira and you're showing multiple vendors. Is it for larger companies, or do you have small companies that are using this as well?
Yeah, that's a great question, Matt. Of course, these large, full-blown service management ecosystem solutions go to our large clients out there that we work with. But also, if you start with simple, smaller integrations, right? When you just have, for example, you have your ticketing solution, you have an external party. This also applies to midsize, right? And then over time, you add more to your tech stack and grow, and that's where we then grow with you together. So yes, this full-blown ecosystem approach, of course, this big pharma example that we used is a company exactly out of that area. It's a big, large enterprise, globally known. But then also, if you're a mid-sized company and you're having challenges of being in sync with your external providers or your software development team, and you're spending a lot of time of manually inputting information in one system and then swivel sharing it over to the other system, that's already where there's a certain return of investment that will help you to get the value and automate these tasks. And then as you said, Matt, over the time, the tech stack grows, and it's really, really important that you then also make sure that you're still connected. Even more importantly now than in the past, you need to grow with your organization, with your tech stack.
That's a great point. The smaller companies are needed to be more integrated than ever before. So it does make sense. So like get started early before your stack gets kind of crazy.
Exactly.
And I need to ask the same question I'm asking all the vendors. In the case of fairness, I want to be fair to everyone. How do you, like, especially for you, how do you stay connected to what's happening in the market, in the service management market, and listen to customers so you know what needs to be added to your library of connectors?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, we're very thankful. First of all, we all come from IT service management practices. I worked for Adidas, the German sportswear company, led their IT service management team for multiple years, and then also our other clients we engage with on a regular basis, share their challenges. Right? It's not a one-off solution where you implement it and then it's running. No, you add to it. There's a new use case. And I mean, especially from an IT service management perspective, there's some really, I know this might sound weird, sexy use cases if you think about cloud provisioning, right? Something that really touches us when you think about cloud provisioning in terms of a CMDB, something we're working on with a prospect in the airlines industry to provide them their cloud access and their cloud systems in real time. And it's also something that you have to somehow maintain in the CMDB setting, right? So through our clients and our engagements and also our prospects, we stay pretty close. But of course, then we also attend regular meetings like this, just to network, talk to people. And as I said, we all come from IT service management. And as you can see, me calling cloud provisioning sexy also tells you what kind of people we are when it comes to IT service management.
And there's no shortage of complexity, especially when you start getting those vendors and cloud solutions involved. So it totally makes sense. What a great demonstration. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your demo today.
Thank you, everyone.